Welcome back to the channel, guys. I know it has been a minute. I wanted to make a video of like kind of an update, a little bit of an explanation of what's been going on for the last year and a half. And I wanted to give you an insight on what has been going on in my life, man. Like for those who are interested and maybe you've been with me for the journey, we've been on this channel for 4 years and maybe a little bit over that, but it's been a ride, man. There's been a lot of stuff. We've been doing crazy stuff for so long, and then I kind of just was so inconsistent for like the last year and a half, and I feel like I have an explanation, and I've kind of come to a realization of what I wanted to do with this channel, because I've been back and forth for about that whole time, dude. Like there has been stuff obviously you've seen on the channel where there's been, you know, other content, like maybe I did some of the Bleach stuff, maybe I did some of like, you know, Dragon Ball Z stuff, like, you know, flirting with different things that just weren't gacha, wasn't Arknights, wasn't something that I've been doing pretty consistently, because we did Arknights for about 2 years and we've been doing gacha games for, I don't know, 3.5 years basically, from pretty much when I started the channel. I've only done like 6 months of anything else, which was like Valorant or whatever the hell I did whenever I first started the channel. But there's been a lot of gacha games on this channel. I've been pretty consistent with a lot of stuff, like PGR into like, actually it was like Alchemy Stars into PGR into like Arknights, you know, and Arknights being the longest running game on the channel so far. And I wanted to kind of talk about that because I did get pretty burnt out after playing for about 2 years. Obviously I love the story, I love the characters, I liked, you know, diving into the community. I had a lot of time to do live streams and I had a lot of time to make videos and experience stuff, and it was just so much fun to be able to get into this groove of formats where I could do reviews, I could do reactions, I could do playthroughs, I could do a story, and everybody just seems to really enjoy it and wanted to watch it and experience it. And it was so much fun to be able to experience that with a community and build it and do all these different stuff. But I was starting to get burnt out. Like I was getting to a point where I was like, you know, this another event, you know. And even though I had different mechanics, I was kind of just like, I don't really like, I was starting to lose the interest and kind of experiencing it. I didn't want to go out on a sour note on the game. So I was like, okay, you know what? I've pretty much done all the stuff I really wanted to do with like kind of catching up to the story. Obviously I didn't go into the next arc, but you know, the reunion arc and all that different stuff, and be able to, you know, read that and experience that with you guys and go through some different stuff with reactions and new characters. And I was like, okay, this is like the peak of where I'm at. And I want to kind of dip out here and leave it on a good memory. I don't want to get to a point where I'm just like grinding it for views or money and all this different stuff, and I get burnt out to the point where I don't like it anymore. And so I wanted to dip out, and I was like, you know what, that's cool. I'll just kind of take a break, and then Arknights Infield will like kind of come out, or like we'll hear more stuff about it, because that game has been announced for like 3 years, dude. I've had another child since then. I've had, you know, 2 years of being a stay-at-home dad since then. I have had a year of being an electrical apprentice, which is like what I'm doing now as my new career. I start school for that next Wednesday. And so I'm like starting an electrical career. You know what I mean? Ever since this game's been announced, I've been doing so many different things. And that's partly why I've been inconsistent, right? I got family, I got work, I got all this stuff kind of going on. But the other side of it is I just don't know what to make. Like I had this format and I had this formula, and I'm very routine based. Like I like doing stuff and feeling comfortable doing it. Like I don't like jumping into a new game. And even though I could technically take the format of like reactions, reviews, like that's not just like an Arknights thing. That could be like anything. I could have been doing that with Wuthering Waves. I could have been doing that with like, you know, ZZZ or whatever. I just felt weird. Like it felt weird for me to do that because I wasn't as passionate about these games. Like, I don't know. It's weird because it's like Wuthering Waves is cool and I liked it. A lot of cool stuff with it, but I felt like I just didn't have the time. That if any time I went back a patch, I was like, damn, I got so much to do. If I got the new character, well, there's so much stuff I got to catch up on to actually get that character to a point where I'm going to want to like play him or do stuff with him. So it felt very daunting, especially with my current schedule and having 2 kids and, you know, doing 40 hours a week of work. I was like, I can't keep up with that, you know? So then I was just aching to have this thing where I could start from day one and it wouldn't feel like such a pain, because I kind of screwed up doing that on Wuthering Waves. But I was like, Arknights Infield, dude, it has to be coming out soon, dude. There's been so much information about it, and then they just go radio silence. And it's not to say that I think that they should rush. If that's what they're doing because they're trying to like, you know, build a great game with a great foundation, I support it. Like obviously that's just my personal life, that's just my personal stuff going on. So I'm not going to sit here and bash Hypergriff and tell them like, oh, you need to like, you get the game going out. I don't think that. Like they could do whatever they need to do. You know, they need to bake it as much as they need to bake it. I'm cool with it. That's like a personal thing for me, but I really wish it was out because that's what I want to do, man. I see all this different stuff. I reminisce. I'm watching my CBT videos. I'm like, God, dude, I was like sitting there for hours on the factory, like an hour and a half, 2 hours with chat and live stream, just sitting there building my factory. And I'm like, I just want to get back into it. I just want to do that. It's what I want to do. Like I just scratched that itch And ever since then, I was like, that's just kind of what I want to play. I want to keep doing that and, you know, grinding out different stuff. And it's just not here. So I just don't know what to do. So, so then I get nervous, but it's like, well, I want to make consistent videos because that's how you build a channel. That's how you build a community. It's how you keep your community, by giving expectations and obviously meeting those expectations. And I have not been doing that for a year and a half. And so I feel very bad. I feel bad because it's like I have a community and people who watch me, which they've probably moved on. You know, you got your own lives and stuff like that. So maybe you don't think about me as much, which is fine. I totally understand. I would do the same thing, dude. I actually hate it when YouTubers I like do that shit, because I'm like, damn, dude, I just want to watch stuff that you play and you don't do anything anymore. So I understand the feeling. It's just, I don't know what to do and I don't want to be miserable making videos, but I have the itch to be creative and make videos. You know, so it's like a constant like spinning wheel of just not doing anything. And if I get stressed out and I get overthinking, I just don't do it. And so this is kind of my commitment. Maybe it's verbal, like video, whatever you want to call it, to want to make stuff. Like I want to do stuff like weekly and kind of do some different things. I don't know if I'll go back to Arknights. I don't know if I'll play that. I got a little bit of FOMO from that because there's so much that happened. And obviously there's so much things I could tackle, but I don't have a lot of time. So I can't, like, you know, read 8-hour stories anymore. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't know, damn if you do, damn if you don't. Maybe Tokyo Game Show will give us something for Arknights Infield. If not, then maybe I just dip in and play some different stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of weird things about YouTube because you hear a lot of stuff when you're researching and you're going through it. And there's like taboos, like you're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do that. You can't have this niche in this niche. You can't, like, you know, like for the longest time, I was just like contemplating, like, can I like add stuff like Bleach or Dragon Ball in top of my gacha gaming stuff? Like, are people going to care? Are people going to click off? Or am I going to create two different divided audiences that hate each other? Like, should I create two different channels? Like, it's one of those things where it's like a lot of people have done it and there's just no real way to do it. Some people get lucky and they're able to do it because of their personality. Some people just have to make different channels. And so it's like one of those things where it's like, there's no clear answer. You just kind of do it or you don't do it, you know? And so I get kind of nervous when I have like 300 different options. I'm like, okay, well, I just don't want to do anything. So I just don't do anything. And that's how it goes. And then I continue living my life. But then there's always an itch in the back of my head where I'm like, I just want to make content, dude. I want to do stuff on here to make content. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, man. So I think for right now, I just want to make like weekly uploads, basically. I want to try to make a commitment to make weekly uploads. I'm not going to say it's going to be Arknights. I'm not going to say it's going to be this or that or the other. It might just be a random game, but I do want to say that when Arknights Infield comes out, that's the game that I'm like setting my sights on. That's basically the thing I want to do. It gives me an itch where it's like, I want to play that and I want to be consistent. Does that mean it's going to be like that forever? I don't really know. But I know for a fact when I was playing 2 hours on just the factory and organizing that stuff, I had a hell of a time, which reminds me when I was in CC on Arknights and I played for like 8 to 10 hours and I forgot that it was like 10 hours. That's the type of stuff I like. And I have not found a game that gets me into that except for Arknights and Arknights Infield, where I just dip so many hours into it because I forget how many hours I'm doing it because I'm trying to fix a problem. I'm trying to solve a problem. That's what I liked about Arknights. And that's what I liked about Arknights Infield. There's something I'm trying to fix, a solution to get, like, to have. And a lot of these other games, I just don't feel that way. You know, there's a lot of things where you're just like smacking monsters and stuff. You know, there's obviously some like, you know, stuff you could dive into, but I'm not like a stats guy. Like, I don't want to like dive into all the stats and min-max and all that stuff. That's not really fun for me. I like throwing Flametail in a spot she's not supposed to be and making sure it works just because I want to put her there. You know, that's the kind of stuff I like to do. I don't really care what her stats are, bro. I just want her to sit there and I want her to tank some stuff like on CC8. I'm pretty sure it's CC8, maybe it's CC7, I can't remember, but I want her to stand there and I want her to tank it because I believe in her. You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that I like to do. But anyway, I just want to give you guys an update, let you know what's going on, let you know life's good. You know, hopefully you guys are having fun. Hopefully you're, you know, enjoying your lives, whatever you've been doing for the last year and a half. But yeah, that's me. That's all I'm going to say.